everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is the show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Josh.
What's up?
Corey.
Hey.
And Jonah.
Hello.
All right, guys. DC Comic-Con 2022.
SDC.
Yeah, there it is.
San Diego.
Just wrapped up, yesterday, or was that?
Yeah, on Sunday.
Okay, so yesterday was the last day. Lot of stuff dropped, so we're going to kind of go through it as quick as we can, but we're going to start with some Marvel stuff, namely a bunch of trailers that dropped for shows and movies. So what do we got up first, Joe?
Yeah, the first thing we were going to talk about was the Wakanda Forever trailer. I think that was kind of probably the biggest news that dropped there with Marvel. I mean, a lot of people have been wanting to see that trailer with everything that, with the passing of Chadwick Boseman and all that. Yeah. And so I just wanted to kind of just jump right into the trailer. What do you guys think of the trailer? Are you guys excited for it? Did you guys like the first one? What do you guys think? Corey, go ahead.
The first one was great. I really liked the first one. Probably like top 5 Marvel movies for me. This one, I'm just not sure what to expect. I mean, they kind of started to lay it out a little bit. It looks like there's going to be a lot of characters. Obviously, there's a lot of they were secondary to Black Panther, but now they're kind of like the primaries. I don't know who's going to be the primary here. I'm not sure. Is it going to be a sister? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I think so.
So that's what I'm not sure about, but it looked cool. The music was good. Yeah, it's just interesting. It's kind of a new age, and it's a little bittersweet, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was cool getting to see or hear his voice in the What If series, so that was kind of cool. But with this trailer, I don't know. I'm positively looking forward to it. What about you guys?
I'm positive about it. I think the more I linger and think about the first movie, it's not as good as I originally thought it was when it first came out. It's still, I think, probably middle to higher tier for the Marvel movies, but for this one, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really curious what they're going to do with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, and just how they're going to deal with that in the Marvel universe. I don't know if they're going to, have a good send off for him in the movie, or I'm just really curious how they're going to go about it. But the visuals look really cool, and it's always it's a very unique part of the MCU universe, and I think that's one thing that had the first movie really going for it. So
yeah, I'm the same way. I like the Black Panther is one of the Marvel movies that is towards the top for me of the ones that I like the most. I really like the director's good, Ryan Coogler. I'm interested to see. I think what they said is it's basically going to be an homage to Chadwick Boseman. So I think we're going to get a lot of a good send off for him in the movie. As far as visuals go, I really like the visuals in Black Panther. I feel like it's one of the more unique looking MCU movies. And based on this trailer, it looks like they're doing the same thing. There were some really striking shots. They do really interesting shots with color, contrast, stuff like that.
They're very dark scenes too, at the same time.
Yeah. Everything I saw in the trailer looked interesting, and we get knockoff Aquaman in it now. Namor, the Submariner, finally coming into
that was, I think, one of my favorite shots is when they were all on the whales and the whales are going. That was cool. This is, as someone who's not a big Marvel fan, this is the movie I think I'm most excited for of the Marvel ones coming out. And one of the big reasons I think there is, you can tell even after they showed the trailer, the whole cast was crying, and they were, with Ryan Coogler and stuff. And so you can tell it's important to them. Yeah. And so that's something that, it gets me interested. But I think also the aspect of the trailer didn't have a ton of oh, here's Ant-Man, or here, you know what I'm saying? My biggest thing is I want, when we talk about X-Men and stuff like that, I want the movie to be an X-Men movie. This looks like it's going to be a Black Panther movie. It's not going to be dealing with what's going on with the Avengers or what's going on over here. It's going to be in Wakanda, whatever they're going through. And I think that's the kind of stuff that that I want to see, like a movie that's about one superhero, you know, and obviously his family's going to be involved and you're going to have a villain and that kind of stuff. But where it's not like, oh, I have to bring Captain Marvel and I have to bring Captain America. This feels like it's going to be something that they are going through themselves, that it's not like the whole world's going to explode if we don't do something, right? It's just going to be something that's taking place in that time and place specifically. So that's what I kind of get excited for, because it's going to be a Black Panther movie.
More focus, more narrowed down. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I found it interesting because it's like I don't really know what it's about.
Yeah.
After watching the trailer, so it's like it's just an interesting, like mysterious trailer, which they don't usually do those for Marvel movies. So obviously we're going to have more trailers released as it gets closer, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Definitely set an interesting like feel for it.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they balance, you know, honoring Chadwick Boseman and telling that story, like in universe. Like, how do you tell a story about Black Panther dying, and then how do you marry that with the plot that's going on? That'll make it a good plot. So I think they have it was a tough task for them, because I think they were already into production or writing, at least when Chadwick Boseman passed away, unfortunately. So I think they probably had to do a lot of rewriting.
They had to do it for sure.
It's one of those weird, like, real world things where you're like, oh, I wonder how that movie turns out. But
because you want to like write a good movie.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think mainly you really want to respect Chadwick Boseman with all this.
The other thing that I'm like really like looking forward to is I actually really enjoy the secondary characters, like his sister and his mom and stuff like that. I think they're really strong characters, and so that's why I look forward to this movie, is because of those, like, supporting cast is actually rock solid.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm hoping his sister picks up the mantle.
I think she does.
I bet she would.
That last shot in the trailer looked like it looked like her.
Yeah,
yeah. She's made comments though that she doesn't want to keep being in Marvel, so I'm not sure how. There's rumors that they might set up that she's or someone is like interim Black Panther, and that in the movie, like, he has a kid, you know.
Oh,
and so then they'll flash forward.
They grow them up real fast.
Something, you know, it could
give
be
them some
like
tonic.
I mean, they're crazy.
Get some Black Panther
crazy
juice.
there in Wakanda. They can do everything. So,
all with vibranium.
Are you guys good with moving on with more Marvel stuff? Okay, so Marvel had a huge panel, and they basically dropped a bunch of plans. This was, I think, really one of the only trailers they dropped online. They showed the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer, but they didn't release that.
Right.
They showed like She-Hulk and I Am Groot and stuff like that, but this was really kind of the only movie, upcoming movie they showed. But I'm just going to kind of run through some stuff, and then you guys can stop me if you're interested in something. The first part, I was going to do the animation. So What If 2, they announced that they're going to do the Marvel Zombies show that's coming out is going to be rated M for mature. And then they had the I Am Groot shorts. They had a trailer for that. And then
I think that one's going to do well online.
Yeah, I think so. Especially because they're just going to be short. I mean,
it'll be fun.
And then X-Men 97, they kind of had the first images
What do you
drop
guys think
for that.
of those images?
It looked just like the show. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what it... I've been looking through or watching the old show.
Yeah.
Hasn't aged well. It's
sure not.
Very nostalgic. Like, you're just like watch it and you're like,
There you go.
okay, the lines are really cheesy. It just will randomly cut into other scene, and you're like, I guess we're done with this story beat.
Yeah.
It's very much
very 90s cartoon.
Saturday morning cartoon.
For
sure.
The animated
that's what it was.
Spider-Man show also kind of suffered from that.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what. It'll be cool to have the same voice actors back. I mean, the Magneto. It was Magneto, right? That he's leading.
They're saying he's
him.
now leading, and if you watch the end of the show, that makes sense why they're doing that.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, it looked cool. I'm excited.
Do you think
for
it's
it.
going to be received well?
I think there's
I think it will.
Matches.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that really love, like, are just nostalgic for that show. So getting it back, I think it'll do well.
How how much, if any, do you think they'll update like the animation style?
Oh, I think it's going to be
do you
updated
think
animation.
they'll like, really just go for it?
Yeah, it's not gonna. I think they're gonna keep the costumes, and it's still gonna have a look
the
like that, but it's
aesthetic
not
of
gonna
it.
look.
I think they're gonna put a grainy filter over.
Yeah, it's not gonna look like that. I think
It like has
it's
a
gonna
lower
look
resolution.
like
You
quality.
recorded this on a VHS.
It's like 700 by 300. Jeez.
So that's the one I was most excited for, seeing that, and then especially when you see Gambit, because
Yeah.
I mean, I love that Gambit.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool. Moving on to kind of Marvel dropped kind of what they're doing Phase 4. They announced the end of Phase 4.
I will say, just before we get to this,
Okay.
I will say I think this was a great move on their part.
Yeah.
Because they're ending the phase. Because I was
a
like,
bad phase.
what's happening here?
Right.
Like, where are we going? It's like, I'm way better, or like way more okay with them just like snipping it off, being done with it, and moving on to
Yeah.
better things. Because, bro, they felt so aimless. We've already talked about this in the podcast, but I was like, when I saw that, I was like, that's a good choice.
Yeah. I think Phase 4 was their buying time phase. They're like,
Yeah.
And maybe buying time and also maybe testing water.
yeah, let's shoot some
Test some-
story beats out,
Yeah.
and
See what
then
sticks.
we might pick them up later.
They're not
Yeah.
going to. They're not going to pick up some of the things that they put
Oh
down.
no, that's what I'm saying. They just like shotgun blast in the
Well, Kang is obviously
Kang.
Right, they're
Oh,
going to pick that
yeah.
stuff up.
Go ahead,
so
rattle through 'em.
Phase 4 is going to end with Wakanda Forever. That's
Yeah.
going to be the last Phase 4 movie,
When does that
and
come out?
then
Is that November?
in November.
Okay.
So then Phase 5 is going to start with Ant-Man, Quantumanium thing.
Yeah.
Along with that, there's going to be a TV show, which is Secret Invasion, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Blade, Ironheart,
So sorry. So Guardians movie.
Guardians
Blade
movie. The
Yeah, Blade
Blade's
movie.
a movie. Ironheart is a show.
That's a show. Yeah.
The Marvels is a movie, right?
Yep.
The Agatha and the
show, yeah.
the
House of Harkness.
Yeah. Loki season 2, Echo, which follows the character from Hawkeye,
Yep.
and then Captain America: New World Order.
That's a movie.
Yes, and then the Thunderbolts
Movie.
and Daredevil: Born Again
Yeah.
is an 18 episode. So that's Phase 5. All those out of those,
What year does that go up to?
24, I think, or
24.
25.
Okay.
I think it's 24.
24. Yeah.
What year is it?
22.
Middle 22.
Yep, we're getting there.
So that's quite a bit of stuff there. Out of those things that I've said, what's the one that you guys are most excited for in Phase 5?
I would say Blade. I'm looking forward
Okay.
to Blade a lot. Daredevil.
That's
looking
about it.
forward to Daredevil. I think Daredevil will be good. If they really like,
Oh, I think She-Hulk's in this too.
Well,
right?
She-Hulk's Phase 4
She-Hulk's
still.
Phase
Yeah.
four.
Because
Okay.
it comes out in August.
Oh, I
so
guess that's true. Yeah.
This year.
yeah. That would be on the top of my list if we were talking about it.
yeah. Hopefully they kind of stick as close as they can of what Netflix did with the show. I'm assuming they'll probably change a little bit and make it a little more, watchable for a wider range of audience.
I mean, they did say that Logan and the Deadpool movies are going to be on Disney Plus now, which is
Yep.
rated R.
Yeah, so
First rated R
It
movies.
seems like they're kind of dipping their toes a little bit, but I don't know if they would just straight up make a TV show.
Yeah, I
And
don't
know.
I mean, they're
'cause-
doing that with the Marvel with the Zombies show.
Yeah,
Yeah, but isn't that animated?
Yeah.
It's a little different. But
Yeah, it
I
is.
get what you're saying though.
yeah.
Still are.
But
Yeah.
the Daredevil show is like really
Yeah.
over the top. So I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, some of those others are fun. Like I'll probably have fun with Guardians 3. Yeah. I'll piddle around with the Ant-Man thing.
Fiddle around.
Sea Dog, any of those? Wet your whistle?
Yeah. Some of them look all right. I don't know. I'm not really excited about Agatha. Don't care about her.
Why not?
The Quantum Manium or whatever, Quantum whatever.
Yeah, which
That might be okay.
that has Kang in it.
Right. That'll be
Yeah.
that'll be basically the introduction to Kang.
Yeah,
Kind of set
so-
everything up.
So I'm interested to see that. Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple that are interesting. All the like Avengers movies that they announced on their timeline. I don't know. Did you say those?
That's
No,
next
that's Phase
phase.
6.
Okay, yeah. When
I'm
they
waiting
had the
for those.
timeline, all those, I was like, whoa. But Yeah. So I don't know. This phase is looking to be kind of like set up a bunch of stuff, which is good. But yeah.
Choop, any of the movies in Phase 5 or shows that you're super excited for?
I think the Ant-Man one, just because I like Paul Rudd. I think it'll probably be a good time.
Oh, I want to know what Captain America New World Order is.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what
Captain America.
I want to know what that becomes.
Yeah.
You say that's a new Captain
Yeah.
America?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's called Captain America.
Well, I mean,
it's
Sam.
Anthony.
Well, no,
Anthony
I know,
Mackie.
but why New World Order? That's a crazy name.
Illuminati, bro.
What?
It's the Illuminati.
Okay, nice. Crazy. I don't know.
Choop, any?
Loki 2 maybe might be interesting.
Loki season 2, I think will be interesting. Hopefully, we get more kind of what
Loki
we were talking
kissing
about.
Loki?
Yeah. More self love. Blade.
sound good.
Blade is the one that I'm interested just because it's new, and I think it'll be cool. Other than that,
No Thunderbolts fans here?
no, I feel like it's gonna be lame Captain America, right? And maybe Abomination and all the people they've shown really that it could be in the Thunderbolts. I'm like, that's not cool. But yeah, I mean, Blade I think is the standout for me just because it's something new, and I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I'm a pass on all of these. Really, no, I mean, I think Blade.
I'm shocked.
I think I think Blade is the one that I'm like, okay. Like I said, Wakanda Forever, Blade. The TV shows, I liked Loki. I think as far as like TV shows that we've watched together and reviewed on the podcast, I think Loki is probably my favorite one so far. So I would give that another like shot to watch it, see what they do with the second season.
Yeah.
I watched the first season of Daredevil and I didn't watch any more. So that might be something I pick up again, but I'm not, I don't know. But that goes into Phase 6, which they announced Fantastic Four will be the first movie in Phase 6, which would come out in 2024, and then followed up by Avengers Kang Dynasty in May of 2025, and then Avengers Secret Wars the same year, November 2025. So what do you guys think about that news?
Yeah, I think it's just the way they set it up before with Infinity War and Endgame kind of a thing. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. And then Secret Wars basically is all the multiverses coming together, right, in the comics. So
yeah, they call this the Multiverse Saga.
Yeah, the Multiverse Saga, which was Infinity Stone Saga was the previous one.
Infinity Saga.
Infinity Saga, yeah. So
it just means we're going to get Tom Cruise as Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. is back. Everyone's showing up. It's going to be a ton of cameos.
It's going to be the exact same scene from Endgame, just
With a ton
30
of
minutes.
I mean, you know,
Twice the amount
On your
of
left,
portals.
on your left, on your left, on your left, on your left.
you know, if Robert Downey Jr. Reprises role as
it's
a
gonna
different
be in
Iron
those.
Man,
It's going to
it's gonna kill. Like the movie's gonna destroy. Everyone's gonna lose their mind.
absolutely.
So many people want that. And I bet it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, 100%. Iron Man's back,
You think so?
guaranteed.
All right.
We'll find out in 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
So they didn't really announce
years.
any like casting stuff, which I kind of thought they would with like, oh, this is X-Men. They didn't announce any X-Men movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no
that was
X-Men.
surprising.
Yeah.
Although they did
D23
when they did the Phase 6, there were spots
There's-
that were
there's a lot of
that were
empty
like
spots.
Empty spots. So I'm like, are they waiting to do the X-Men? Figured like, hey, we'll just announce all this and then.
Yeah,
So that's what I was looking more forward to, because here's the thing with Marvel, it's like, sure, you can announce all these movies, but at this point, in my opinion, don't kill me for my opinion, but in my opinion, all these movies have become very similar to me. So I'm like, you can announce as many movies as you want because you've got them in a like conveyor belt making them. You know, to me, it doesn't get me as excited as something that I'm looking forward to, like X-Men. You know,
something brand new.
these kind of things. I'm like, well, we already know that they've already been
Sure. Yeah.
churning these out, and I feel like even in talking with you guys, the quality's kind of gone down in Phase 4. You know, where I think people have. I'm seeing more
Less
people,
movies, more TV shows.
more people of being more like, that was just okay. You know, where before it was like, this is the best Marvel movie ever. You know, and now it's becoming more like, I think people are getting used to the rhythm of it. So for me, it's just kind of like, meh. I was looking more forward to like give me some casting and stuff like that, but we didn't get any of that.
Yeah, at least for like Fantastic Four. I mean, that being the first movie for Phase 6.
Yeah.
And spoiler for Doctor Strange, but we got Mr. Fantastic in that movie, cast as John Krasinski. So to me, that would have been like kind of an obvious thing to do, and that would have like just I think built up the.
Well, I heard Feige say that he just did that because they just cast him because the fans kept fan casting him, but he's not really. They were just like he's not going to be.
I think that's going to piss a lot of people off.
Well,
what if?
Welcome to the modern world.
What if Steve Carell is Mr. Fantastic?
There you go.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Either that or Rainn Wilson.
Yeah.
So that was.
Rainn Wilson. Right. Yeah.
That was the Marvel stuff.
great.
Do you guys have anything else to say on the Marvel stuff or anything before we go on to the DC stuff?
I think Guardians of the Galaxy kind of interests me because they were saying it's the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm curious if they actually follow through with that and are like actually kill some of them off, or if it's just like,
well,
we're done making the movies, but they'll still
like
show up and other stuff.
Well, they showed a trailer there, and Gamora is back. And so they're like, no one dies. They're bringing her back.
Well, did you watch the last Avengers?
I did, but I don't remember what happened in it.
A couple of people died in that one.
But it'll be interesting because even they asked Chris Pratt if he's like, is this your last one? Are you going to continue on in the Marvel universe? He's like, well, I hope so. But he's like, I don't know what they're planning. So there's so many people in that universe that then it's like, well, how do we fit movies for people? Does that make sense?
Well, you just got to show up in shows. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
I got a couple of like Wong now is like just shows up in random places.
Nick Fury.
I bet that guy's stoked. He's like, heck yeah.
Dude, their contracts must be insane.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they've teased a lot of things in the past, but they just don't follow through on them. So it's like I remember them teasing Adam Warlock in Guardians 2 or 1?
Guardians 2.
And it's like they never really did anything with that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like that. So I wouldn't really because I was like, oh, well, they haven't followed through on everything that they've done with that storyline. And it's like, I don't think it
back for the
matters.
third one, right?
Yeah, he's in this one. He's Will Poulter's that.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So he came out on stage and there were, he said some stuff.
Yeah.
I was watching
nice.
Mr. Sunday Movies, and he was doing a thing. He's like, just imagine. He's like, remember in Eternals, at the end of Eternals, when the big eternal God or whatever comes and takes Xerxes away, and he's like, you're gonna be judged for your crimes. He's like, nothing's gonna happen with that, and then she's gonna show up in a portal in like that Avengers movie, and the guy's gonna be like, you're innocent, and then everyone's gonna be like, yeah, and she's just gonna fight. He's like, that's what's gonna end up happening. But so that's all the Marvel stuff. If we missed some stuff, we apologize. We're gonna move on to the DC stuff. There was only really two things. They did the Shazam trailer, which is pretty good, and then they did the Black Adam, a small teaser because they had just dropped a trailer.
Yeah.
So that was basically all we got from DC. There was a rumor that Henry Cavill would show up. He didn't. So a lot of people are upset about that. But what did you guys think of the Shazam trailer first? And then we can move on to the next one.
Don't ask me.
Not a fan.
It was all right.
Okay.
Just a lot of the same.
Okay. I'll actually kind of agree with Corey. I kind of felt the same way though about the first Shazam trailers. Like it just, I really like Zach Levi. I think he's great, and I did enjoy the first movie. It's just this trailer it seemed really long and just kind of drawn out, and it didn't really hook me.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's how I felt about the first trailer. So, maybe the movie will be great, and I'm still excited for it. Still good to see it. But the trailer, there wasn't really anything that was like,
yeah, you've seen it before.
Yeah.
Chew.
I thought it was good. I like the first Shazam. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more of the same, which is fine with me because I enjoyed it. So, I wasn't really blown away by the trailer. It was a good first introduction to like, oh, this is what's going on. These are the bad guys. CGI looked good. I liked his new suit. I liked it better than
much better.
His first suit.
Looked way better.
Nice for him to finally have the cape. Nice addition. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I think the best thing for me was like, yeah, Snyder cut shots. Right. When he talks about the Flash and Batman and
oh yeah, I saw that.
But so part of me was like, oh, so it's connected. Yes, thank you. But yeah, I like Sandberg, who's the director. And I kind of, like you said, I like Zachary Levi and kind of the dynamic that he had with Freddy and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it kind of just looks okay. Like I enjoyed the first one, but it's nothing. Again, it was like, yeah. I mean, I'll go watch it, but it didn't. When we talk about trailers all the time, is like, does it get you more excited for a movie? That's the whole point of a trailer. This one got me like. Didn't get me more excited, didn't get me less excited. It just kind of was like, okay, yeah, I'll go watch it. But so it was really just looked cool. I thought the CGI looked better than the first movie, which you gotta hope it does.
Yeah.
Having Helen Mirren in it and Lucy Liu is interesting as villains. I don't think they're going to be like the real villains. I think they're kind of holding some stuff back. So, I mean, they're good actresses, but like I said, it'll be interesting to see.
They look weird, man. I'm just going to be honest. Yeah, they look weird. And like, it's just the setting looks very like vanilla. And it just feels almost like some of the Marvel movies and stuff that we see feels very like neutral colors, like not bland, but like the characters don't fit in the environment. And it makes sense because like, well, we don't have superheroes with bright red, purple, blue, all these colors in our world. So it looks weird. But then you see like what were they? Lucy Lawless and who? Or not Lucy Lawless.
Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Xena.
They just look like they don't, I don't know. It just looks so, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. And that's the biggest issue I have with Shazam is it feels very like, I don't know. It doesn't have a lot of like emotion baked into it.
I liked his family line for the Fast and Furious line. No,
I liked it.
That worked. Good.
Yeah.
It was a good joke.
Yeah.
All right. Well, huge fan of Shazam. What do you guys think about Black Adam then?
So does that mean that The Rock is like also multiversal and he's in?
How does that work? Helen Mirren is in the Fast and the Furious movies, and he makes a reference about the Fast and the Furious.
So
movies.
is Gal Gadot. And she's Wonder Woman.
Whoa. I can't wait for
Same
the
universe.
multiverse.
That's the real multiverse
Same
we want to
universe.
see. Is Fast and Furious mixed with DC.
That's what the movie, or that's what the new game's all about. Multiverses. You can play as Wonder Woman and Batman. It's great.
So Black Adam, what do you guys think? I mean, it was a small teaser.
It really seemed kind of what we've seen already.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it, but it's kind of the same thing with the Shazam trailer. It's like nothing really new. I mean, I love the stuff I'm seeing with Dr. Fate. He's probably like the one I'm most excited about. But in terms of like new hooks, new grabbing, not much.
Yeah, if you had Black Adam wear a totally different outfit, I wouldn't assume or guess that Shazam and Black Adam are in the same like universe or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's so like, it just looks so much more like gritty for good reason, obviously. It's kids versus like this dude that's like a god or whatever. But I don't know, man. It just feels, it feels awesome. I think it looks great.
Yeah.
The music and the sound effects are great. Like the CGI is awesome. And it just looks like it has a lot of character to it. And so I'm excited about it. But as far as what they showed us, I mean, it wasn't too much. But yeah. Choop.
Yeah, I think it looks good. Like Mick said, Dr. Fate is probably the thing that's interesting me the most. I think he looks really cool. It'll be really cool to see his powers, that kind of stuff, how they interpret them and show them. I think that he looks pretty cool so far. And I'm interested to find out Hawkman looks cool.
Yeah, Hawkman looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see who the real bad guy is in the movie.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously holding it back. Hopefully they don't spoil it in a trailer.
They will.
That's what we'll be watching any more trailers.
Doomsday.
That's what we do. Andrew Garfield is showing up as Spider-Man.
But yeah. Oh, and they confirmed at Comic-Con that Amanda Waller is
that's true.
She puts together the Justice Society of America to stop Black Adam. Or she gathers them together or something like that. So she's coming
together
back.
a team.
Viola
like
Davis
Suicide
is coming back.
Squad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, Suicide Squad didn't work for her, so she's
like, maybe if I change the name, just
the
society in America.
A little insensitive. So the other big thing that with DC, there was a big rumor that Henry Cavill was showing up. He didn't. They actually asked The Rock a question like, who would win between you and Superman? And he said something like, well, it depends on who is cast as Superman. And the crowd like booed.
Well, yeah, he's saying he beat the crap out of Christopher Reeve. That's what he's saying.
Because they wanted people to be like, I think even if you don't like Man of Steel, people like Henry Cavill as Superman. But
I think he was talking about like future, like
no, past ones.
No,
because like Brandon Routh, I'd take him.
That's right.
Christopher Reeve, he's done. And then
come on.
Yeah.
But so before we move on to the next thing, we're going to talk Lord of the Rings. I have a little segment we're going to do right now. So Mick, if you can go ahead and play that right now.
I am not here for rage. I'm here for revenge. Am I talking to you, Pinhead? I'm losing it. Probably because this whole universe is against me. Makes me so mad. Worlds are colliding. George is getting upset. Serenity now! It was a setup! A setup, I tell you! And you brought it! You've all screwed me again! I'm going to stop this. Let's rumble!
Okay. So
thank you.
That was great.
So
it's great. He just does it so long.
Oh, give me more.
I'm a little upset, as George said there. So here's the reason. After Comic-Con, everyone from Heroic Hollywood, all these YouTubers, all these big trades, things like that, we're all saying like, oh, Marvel totally destroyed DC. That's fine, right? But there's a little context to it. Like, DC just went through a merger. Everyone knows what's going on with The Flash. Everyone knows what's going on with Aquaman and Mera and Amber Heard. And so the only two things they can show are movies that they know they're going to release, right? So just to put that into context. But what really irritates me is there's this aspect of when Man of Steel came out, all these same bloggers, all these same critics complained about Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and how it wasn't Marvel, right? How it wasn't like Marvel had already released like 10 movies. And so they would compare the box office and be like, oh, well, Man of Steel didn't make as much as this recent Marvel movie. But yet it was this constant thing about let's make DC like Marvel. It needs to be like Marvel. And then dumb executives ended up getting rid of Zack because they bought into these critics and all these people saying, oh, it needs to be like Marvel. And so now we're in this position because DC had put out a slate. We were going to get the 2 Justice League movies. We were going to get Wonder Woman. We were going to get Suicide Squad. We were going to get the Ben Affleck Batman movie. We were going to get a Cyborg movie. We were going to get Green Lantern movie. We were going to get the Flash movie. There was all this thing set up, but because critics complained and people were complaining constantly about the fact that DC wasn't Marvel enough, now we're in this position where they got rid of Zack, where they did all this stuff, and now they're complaining like, oh, DC doesn't have any plans. Well, it's like, well, yeah, because you guys complained so much and you guys made an issue instead of letting us have a darker cinematic universe that was DC, completely different than Marvel. Everyone wanted to compare DC to Marvel. It's got to be more funny. It's got to be brighter. It's got to be like this. And now we're in this position. So it really irritates me when people that have complained for years about what DC was doing beforehand, and now they're complaining about DC and what their lack of what they're doing now. But it's because people complained all the time beforehand. So it's my little rant on the whole situation. I'm a little upset about it. So that's all I have to say. Moving on.
You feel better?
Okay, I do. Next thing.
I was going to say, do we get to talk
You guys
about
want to add anything to
or-
it? You guys can add.
Do you want to?
You can't blame the executives for
Yes.
being stupid enough
100%.
to follow them.
100%.
That's who you need to
Okay,
direct your anger at.
I'll give a lot of anger to them for making those decisions.
He's got
but at
plenty
the
of
same
it.
time, there's a lot of people like the critics and stuff like that that would just put that stuff out there and put that stuff out there and put that stuff out there, and it was just like if you don't enjoy the movies, that's fine, but to then be like, well, they're not as good as Marvel because Marvel makes me laugh and DC doesn't, and constantly be like, DC needs to get rid of Zack Snyder and be more like Marvel, like that that to me is what's irritating. It's like, if you don't like it, that's fine. But there are a lot of people that like that kind of stuff. That was an alternative to the Marvel funny, bright, jokey stuff. A lot of people were liking that, and people just kept crapping on those people.
From what you're saying, I take this as the executives and the people who are making the decisions were cowards.
Well, yeah, and they were following Rotten Tomato scores.
Instead of taking risks on a different, kind of like how Nintendo, makes their own piece of the pie by not adhering to what Xbox and PlayStation are doing. It's like DC could have done that, right? And so that they were just being cowards in that they're like, oh, we just need to make money like Marvel's making money. Okay, we'll just kind of bow down and try to emulate it somehow.
Right.
So
get Joss Whedon.
So I wouldn't blame the fans, because the fans are always going to talk, right? And obviously the Marvel style is a winner, and it is the majority that people like. They like to laugh at movies. So that's going to happen.
Right.
But it's just, it takes balls to, stand up against what is the norm. So, yeah, I mean, I get you and I feel you. Okay? You're heard.
Thanks for hearing me, guys.
Hot, bro.
I'm sweating. It's hot in here. Turn the AC on. All right, moving on. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Amazon dropped a new trailer, which was pretty close after. I mean, we had just gotten a trailer, seems like a couple weeks ago. What do you guys think of this trailer? I loved it. I thought it's been the best thing we've seen so far, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, it was the highlight of the Comic-Con for me, 100%. I mean, it was kind of cool too, because like the teaser that we saw before, it ended like in that same scene, and then they just like continued it on. It was really interesting.
That was cool.
But yeah, no, man, I mean, that trailer got me so excited that today I was just like railing through just a bunch of YouTube videos on like lore from Lord of the Rings, Silmarillion, and all that first age, second age stuff. It's so cool. I'm just so stoked for it. Everything that we saw is really dope, so I'm really excited about it. What do you think, Josh?
I'm super excited about it. I think it was nice to finally get like a story trailer. We get a setup of like who are the main players, what's kind of going on, instead of just like, oh, here are some snippets of visuals and some conversations. So it was really nice to get kind of some context to what's going on. I'm super excited. I think we've talked about it before. Like,
do you want me to press the rant button so you can rant?
No, I don't think it'll be necessary. But I'm seeing a lot. Like, all my YouTube recommendations are everything that's wrong in this scene, and I was weak and I clicked on one video.
Yeah,
and it was literally plays the trailer, stops at 2 seconds in. Well, this is wrong because she said this, and they should be showing you this.
Right.
Dude, why? Give it a second. Let the show play out.
You have no context.
Exactly. You don't know what's going on. You're just picking at it because you want to pick at it. That's fine. I won't let you. I won't have you play the rent. But I'm just gonna saying things like, "This is woke trash. This show's gonna be garbage.
I don't get the woke trash.
This show sucks." That's not a criticism. It's just you word vomiting.
Yeah.
Tell me why you think it's going to be woke trash. Tell me why you think it's going to suck. Tell me what you didn't like about it.
Yeah, base it on information that you're seeing in the trailer.
That's an actual criticism.
Yeah.
You can say, I don't like this the way this is going, because I don't like it doesn't look like they're going to portray these characters the way that I think they should be portrayed.
Sure.
That's a legitimate argument.
Yep.
You're going based off of maybe 5 minutes total of footage you've seen. You don't know the context to any of the scenes you've seen. So all we're saying is, give it a shot. You might watch the first episode and hate it. You might watch the whole season and hate it. Or you might actually be surprised and say, hey, this was actually a decent adaptation of material that is pretty like slim, and material that is so vast it is nearly impossible to adapt into visual storytelling. Yeah. Very hard. But that's just like, just give it a shot. That's my complaint, is like, all I see is, it's going to be trash. Oh, look, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. Oh, it's dumb. Oh, it's ugly. Oh, it's going to suck. What? How do you know?
Yeah.
What is making you feel that way? Like, that's just what annoys me. Is like, let's have a conversation about it. If you really think that you don't like the way they're doing things, then express that. Don't just say like blanket coverage, go woke, go broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like, okay, whatever. Anyway, that's
Well,
my
and
rant.
we're not, and just so you, I mean, obviously we know.
Hey,
this,
Jeffy B, where's my check at, bro?
We're not shills. We're not getting paid for this. We're just giving things fair chances, and that's what I strive to do for everything. I do that with Marvel movies. I do it with DC movies. I do it with everything.
I don't do it with Marvel.
And Jonah is very biased.
Yeah.
He's one of the few. But yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting because, you know, I'll see people post like, oh man, the armor on the horses were trash. And it's like, awesome. That I agree. It looks rubbery. And I agree with you on that. But that doesn't mean that the series is trash.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually like Galadriel and how this actress looks and how she's been acting. I actually like Elrond as well. I actually like how they're acting. I like what they're doing. I like the visuals too. And I don't know, just for me, it's like, if I like so much of it, I'm just like, I'm going to be positive about it. Yeah. I'm going to give it a fair chance, you know? What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm honestly really baffled by how much hate it's getting without, you know, a few teasers, and then really this main trailer that gives us, like you said, more of the story. Because everything I've heard from behind the scenes, you know, it seems like the writers went about it the right way. They're very like close working with the Tolkien estate. You said they had to pitch them basically the whole show. They know how it's going to end. And everything that I've seen from the trailer, to me, it just looks... It does look different from the trilogy and the Hobbit movies, but I think that's okay. It doesn't have to look exactly the same. And like the Balrog shot at the end, like how can you not like that? I mean, that was sweet. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I mean, look, people can hate it. That's fine. You have the right to do that. I think the better way to do it is to wait till the actual thing comes out and, you know, make your opinion then. But that's just my opinion. You know, yeah. I'm still very excited for the show. I think just each new thing that we've been seeing just gets me more and more excited for it. So I think it's gonna be
good. They had some cool. I mean, the Balrog shot. I just think for me, it's everything's hitting right. Like they even released 2 songs.
I thought
and those songs sounded really good.
Yeah, sound good.
I think the visuals look good. I think, like Corey said, the actress they got to play Galadriel, to me feels like Galadriel, like a younger feels Galadriel, like 1,000 years younger. Yep. You know, like to me, it nothing that I've seen has made me be like, that's a red flag. That's not. And again, I'm not steeped in the lore as much as other people, but at the same time, I have this kind of, it's a novel idea, but like if I'm a fan of something, right, wouldn't I want to see more things in like, if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, the new movie that's coming out, don't you want to see that? Like there's stuff, Lord of the Rings. I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. I want to see more in that universe, and I'm going to give it a chance to watch it. And then after I watch it, I'm going to be like, you know what? I disagree with what they did there, but I like this. Like, I feel like that's a healthy way of doing it. Like, it doesn't mean you have to love it. And it doesn't, like we've said before, if this is trash, if it's a trash first season, it doesn't change or affect the books. It doesn't affect the Peter Jackson movies. Mm-hmm. The Hobbit movies don't affect the Peter Jackson movies, right? And it's the same guy that did them. To me, it's just like, be patient. One of the biggest things that was irritating to me was the people complaining about how Sauron looked, you know, being like, oh, he's not beautiful. He looks like Eminem and stuff like that. It was like, first of all, you don't know who that is. Like, someone was saying that it was the actor playing. Someone was saying it was a completely different actress.
Which one are you talking about?
The guy with the blew the...
Yeah.
They're saying that's Sauron. But Sauron's a shapeshifter. So he can, like, it could be him, but it could be a certain form he's taking, because you never see him in public with anyone else except, like, the 2 guys that are following him. So it's like, if it's him, he's a shapeshifter. He can look like whatever he wants. You know, he could look like Bill Cosby, whatever.
Dark Lord indeed.
But so that's kind of those things that it's like, wait and see. You have no context for what's going on, right? So it's like, why would you go out and make videos? Like, there was a ton of videos that I was seeing was like, this is the worst thing ever. Amazon sucks because they did this. It's like, be patient. Just wait. If it's confirmed and you still hate it, that's fine. Go ahead. But stop, like, downvoting it or disliking it and like doing all this thing like sign a petition to change. It's like, what are you, 5?
I think there is this version of fandom that wants to protect the
gatekeepers,
what they have,
Yeah.
right, and they don't want to see it sullied or portrayed in a wrong way. And I think that's a reality of certain fans out there. So, I mean, it's too bad that it's like that, because for me, I love seeing like Cause of Doom was like so cool. The new shots that we saw in this trailer, dude, it was awesome. Like, because they do have those like those beams of light that come through, because they do that. They do have those windows on like some side of the mountain that pass through light. And it's so beautiful, those visuals. And it's like, man, I don't know, man. Whenever I see a movie, it's so cool to see like an adaptation of something I'm a huge fan of. So it's too bad that people are like that.
Right.
They're like, this isn't exactly how it's supposed to be. It's like, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm enjoying it for what it is, and enjoying that experience of the first time seeing something so beautiful. So,
But even the crazy thing is like, you'll have like Tolkien experts that'll be like, that's not correct. And then you'll have other Tolkien experts that are like, well, over here he said this, so actually it does fit. So to me, even that concept,
there's
that
always
aspect of it is, I'm like, Tolkien contradicted himself sometimes because he wrote something once and then later on he fleshed it out. So it's like, just let it happen and decide later, instead of going off, like we've said, a snippet that you have that's out of context and running with it, being like, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah. I think like my approach of it is like, I love this world. If I get to see any adaptation of it, I'm interested in it. I've brought up the Shadow of War games. Absolutely terrible lore, doesn't adapt anything correctly, makes stuff up. But is it super cool to see like, oh, this is what Celebrimbor looks like. This is how they envisioned him.
Yeah.
I get to run around and dominate orcs. Just stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's cool to run around in this world and see the kind of things that they brought into that game. It's going to be the same thing with the show. Are there going to be things that they've changed? Yes. Are there going to be things that I'm not going to like? Probably. But the fact that I get to see the trees from Valinor, the fact that I get to see potentially things from the First Age, like the Oath of Feanor, that is like a huge like point in the history in the Silmarillion, is like super exciting to me. Just all these things. We don't get to. This show gives us an opportunity to kind of see like, we don't know who any of the ring wraiths are, right? We know 2 of them. There's 9 people that get the rings.
Yeah.
This show has the opportunity to create characters, build them up, and give us a good story of like, oh, he's a ring wraith. You know what I mean? It's like adding to the lore. That might bother you, but guess what? There's no more Lord of the, like Tolkien's not fleshing these characters out anymore.
Nope.
There's these gaps in the story that these storytellers can kind of fill in. And for me, that doesn't bother me. They might ruin it or they might mess up the story, and I'm like, I didn't like what they did there.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the way I feel about the books or anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Spider-Man.
Or how they like represent a certain character that you really like or something like that.
Yeah.
And they might mess it up, but I mean,
I think a perfect example. So for me, I love the Peter Jackson trilogy, but the thing I hate the most about them, my favorite character in the books, reading the books, is Faramir. I absolutely love Faramir. I think he's the best character that Tolkien wrote in The Lord of the Rings.
False.
And but
Sam Gamgee.
Peter Jackson
Fatty
completely destroyed his character by what he made him do, because he had to change some stuff. And I hate that aspect of the movies because I love that character so much.
How it is written. Yeah.
But what Peter Jackson decided to do doesn't ruin the movies for me, and it doesn't ruin the books. I don't think he ruined Faramir forever. It's like, no, I still love what Tolkien did with Faramir. So it's the same thing. It's like, you can love a movie and love a series and stuff like that, and then be like, I don't like what they did there. But it's not going to affect, like people say, like, love to do this with Star Wars, like, oh, they're ruining my childhood. No, it's not. Like, if you don't like a character, it doesn't affect what you watched as a kid.
Right.
So if they ruin a character, or you think they ruin a character, it's not going to affect the books that you have in your bookshelf, and you can pull those out and you can read them, and it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. A couple quick things that I liked about the trailer. Now that we're not ranting, what came out was, I think it was Nerdist, maybe, was like introducing Sauron and put the picture of the actress. So everyone was like running with it, like, oh, Slim Shady, this is stupid. For me, I was like, let's wait and see. Like Jonah said, so Sauron has his fair form is called Anatar, and he's the one that deceives everybody. So he comes as a bearer of gifts, and it's that form that basically he seduces everybody,
trying to win everyone
tricks
over.
everybody. Yeah. So that's what people refer to as like his fair form Anatar. So people were like, is that his form? Oh, he doesn't look very fair to me. But I think it was confirmed that's not the actress confirmed.
Anson Boone is who's supposed to play the fair form.
So
and that's not him.
so that's not him. And so she confirmed on Twitter, like, oh, I'm somebody else. So I think she said she might be a priestess, which is an interesting story beat, because that's kind of what Sauron does in other areas, is he basically sets up like, and there were some cultish vibes. Like you could see she had a hood. There was someone carrying a plate.
Yeah.
So she might be a priestess of the Church of Melkor, which is Sauron's boss.
Yes, sir.
And so what they do is he basically, like, that's his way of getting back at the Valar, who are the gods in this universe, is like, let's get people to worship the Dark Lord.
Yeah.
Let's do human sacrifice. I think he does that in the East, so we don't really see too much about the East, like the Easterlings, Umbar, all those places. Sauron goes over there and basically like pollutes everybody over there, while everyone else on the west side is just kind of chilling.
Yep.
So those are interesting things. Like, those are all interesting aspects to me that I'm excited to see. I want to see that fleshed out. It's interesting to see that. The other thing that'll be interesting is that sword. That's a made up sword, apparently. Like
which sword?
The one that the kid grabs the hilt.
Oh,
yeah.
And it has that symbol we keep seeing. It looks like a Sauron symbol.
Yeah.
So that kid, I'm interested to see what his story is.
That's Sauron.
Does he end up being? Yeah, exactly. Does he end up turning into a ring wraith? Like that kind of stuff's interesting to me. Yeah. Like, it looks kind of like it dissolves kind of like a Morgul blade, but in this case, it's like reappearing.
Yeah.
So is that something that Sauron's working on? Like, I don't know.
He hasn't quite figured out the Morgul blades yet.
Right. He's still working on it. Trial and error. But yeah, all that stuff is like exciting to me. Some of the stuff with Galadriel, like, she doesn't technically go to Numenor. Oh, seeing the Palantir was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like, that's in canon stuff that's like, yeah, the Palantir were in Numenor. That makes sense.
I heard some people having issues with that. Like, she wouldn't be over there at that time.
Right. So in canon, they never say anything about her traveling to Numenor. So that's that's something that they're changing for the story's sake. You just gotta deal with it. Yeah. If that bothers you, sure, there's reasons for it, but you also have to think they're telling their specific story. Yep. They're making adaptation choices. Sometimes you cut Tom Bombadil out of the movies. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that.
Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to make them go somewhere else because you're adapting it to visual storytelling. And whether or not they do it right, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I saw in the trailer that got me super excited. Practical effect orcs look awesome.
Yeah. I think the potential of really good storytelling that could come out of this, combined with the visuals, is what's getting me so excited.
Yeah.
I'm getting pretty.
I'm giving it a 10 before I even see a single episode. We'll 10. See if it goes down from there. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, you never know.
So moving on from Lord of the Rings, I think the last thing we got 2 more trailers to talk about. Dungeons and Dragons trailer dropped.
Oh, yeah.
Josh and Corey both play Dungeons and Dragons with some other friends and family. Mm-hmm. So I want to get your guys' perspective on this. Chris Pine, my boy Chris Pine, in Dungeons and Dragons. Corey, what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably the best representation of Dungeons and Dragons so far. It's not saying much though.
Exactly.
So
it's a 10 out of 10.
It's got a really low bar to like beat. So that's the good thing going for him. I think they're also going for a more like levity, kind of like more lighter kind of feel. So that might also work a lot better for the general public.
Yeah.
But it was cool. The visuals were actually really good too.
The dragon looked cool.
So that was a black dragon, and so with black dragons, they don't breathe fire. They actually breathe just this slop, just acid. I mean, you saw it wasn't like, burning it instantly. It would come out in this like just liquid form,
kind of crate dragony.
It was it was like a kind of like acidic, so that was really cool because it's accurate. And then they had a bunch of other things like a mimic, which is like that chest that became like a monster guy, which mimics can be anything, but that's kind of like the fanfare version of it. You kind of just
nice.
That's what everyone believes it to be. And then they had a gelatinous cube, which was really cool. They're in like some coliseum or something was charging at them, and they dove into a Jello cube basically. That's scary. That basically just dissolves you. You can't get out. So that's interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of really like accurate things that they did. And actually watched some interviews with the makers of D&D. And they write most of the stories and stuff like that and all the adventures and stuff that come out just every month basically. But it's really cool. So the director, I can't remember who the director is, of the movie, approached them and said, hey, here's some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. We really need a prison. We need a really interesting prison, and it has to meet this criteria. And they're like, we do have prisons, but you know what? We'll just make one exactly how you want it, and we're going to include it into the lore. And they released it like at the beginning of this year, I think, or last year, something like that. And so it's already been in like canon story for this movie, but they made it a whole adventure, and you can play through this prison and stuff like that. So it's just really cool that like they're being mindful of the lore and they're being accurate. And so as far as like lore fiends, and people are like, that's not right. It's going to be pretty good. So I'm excited that they're actually going to be pretty good lore wise and accuracy wise. As far as like the story, it's cool. I mean, like, hey, we stole from we stole and gave to the wrong person, and like they basically took a job and fueled this evil guy with a really powerful like horn or something like that. So that's cool. I find that really interesting. Hopefully it's not too like haha funny all the time. Hopefully there's just points of levity, but I don't know. It looks good. I'm looking forward to it. Not like a ton, but I'm like, I don't have high hopes, but I'm like,
it just seems
I'm excited to watch it.
It seems like a fun, like action fantasy, like summer blockbuster.
And
like
the
that you go and you just want to
like the dragon looks sick, and so
Choop, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like all the visuals, I was like really surprised because I was like, wow, this looks really high quality. Like even just like there were like vista shots of them like walking, like kind of almost like Lord of the Rings shots. I was like, wow, these are really good visuals.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I feel like it'll be kind of in the same vein of kind of like Jumanji was kind of like this is a fun like summer movie. I honestly think that was probably a smart decision. To kind of go with more of that levity, like almost comedy, action comedy route instead of being like, let's make a really serious D&D movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that the odds of that failing and just being like, oh, this is a crappy fantasy movie, were way higher. Whereas this is like,
because you're being compared to like Lord of the Rings,
right?
Like,
and in this case, I mean, it's like you get like some goofy things, but it's like, I mean, I feel like in our D&D games, it's like, we're messing around.
Gelatinous cubes gets you all the time.
We're messing around all the time.
So it's like
every D&D game,
right? So it catches that, I guess that spirit of like, let's just mess around to have fun, kind of a thing. So I think that's what's interesting about it.
And I think they're pretty smart. Like, say what you want about like pop culture and stuff, but I do think there's a lot of people that are now aware of D&D because of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. And so I think before Stranger Things, if you put out a thing that was like Dungeons and Dragons, right? The movie, I think you'd have some people that would know like, oh, isn't that the satanic board game or whatever, right? But I think
board game,
dude.
I mean, there's like,
I mean, that wasn't Stranger Things, also.
But I do think because of Stranger Things, I think you're going to have a lot of kids that are like, oh, that's what they play in Stranger Things. I'm going to go watch this movie.
Yeah,
and I think that was done kind of on purpose to kind of even get that, like you said, the humor more of like comedic, like, hey, this is just going to be a fun movie. And so I just think they've been smart at how they're playing it. And I mean, it looks good. as far as like the visuals and stuff, like I said, I'm a sucker for Chris Pine. I love Chris Pine, so I'm like, I'm in.
Funny.
And so,
well, he's a bard, so you're gonna love him. He's gonna be playing
so
music.
it kind of. Do you know what it reminded me of though? A little bit. It reminded me of that the show, the cartoon that was on Amazon Prime.
You mean the Dungeons and Dragons show?
No, what's the
Critical Role or Vox Machina?
Yes,
or whatever
Vox Machina.
The Legend of Vox Machina.
It reminded me
Dungeons and Dragons.
I know, but I'm
Okay.
saying like the
You know
group,
that's Dungeons and Dragons, right?
I don't know if you
like how the group interacted a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not obviously not
because that
raunchy,
is very
but
D&D
like
though.
But it was that when I first watched it, I was like, oh, it reminds me of the episodes I watched with that. So that's kind of cool too. That
Yeah, I think I think that there's a lot of contributing factors why D&D has kind of become very pop culture ish. But yeah, Stranger Things has definitely contributed for sure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it looks good. I think it's got the best chance ever to be a good like adaptation movie.
it's the greatest of all time.
We'll see.
There we go. Last trailer we're going to talk about. I'm going to throw it to Mick. John Wick 4.
Yeah.
Mick's a huge fan of the Wickster. That's what I call him with friends. You know. What do you think of the trailer? How excited are you for this new movie?
Yeah, I'm beyond excited. I've been with John Wick since the beginning.
I've been with him.
And he hasn't let me down yet. No, the John Wick movies I think are by far like of this generation like the best action movies. Better than the Mission Impossible movies in terms of like the actual choreography and just the fact that the story started on such a simple little plot.
Yeah.
And it's opened up into this much bigger world, and it doesn't feel, completely different. It still feels like how it was in the beginning. It just is, opening some more doors. So I've liked all the other movies, and I'm really excited for this movie. And I just hope we get more of a real trailer, because it really was kind of just
action shots.
Yeah. And a few things of dialogue here, but really excited to see Donnie Yen. He's probably going to be another assassin, I'm assuming, part of the other gang that was in the third movie. And I can't remember the other guy.
Clancy Brown, is it Clancy?
Lawrence Fishburne's in it.
Yeah, who's the guy that was in Lost? He was in Last Samurai.
Oh,
he's in the Bullet.
He's in the Bullet Train.
He's in.
you got mustache,
Mortal
right?
Kombat.
He's in Endgame.
Yeah, we know
guy.
who you're talking about. Everyone knows.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know your name, but I really like you as an actor. So I'm excited to see him in the movie too. But Keanu Reeves is awesome. I mean, he does so well in this role.
Because it doesn't take much acting.
It doesn't. It really
beat people up.
is like tailor made for him, and he plays the part extremely well. And even with you go back to the first movie, he does the emotional scenes.
Yeah, it's true.
Perfectly. And there's not a lot of dialogue with those scenes, but
he's just got to look sad.
Yeah, got to look sad and angry. But yeah, I'm excited. I'll have to rewatch them again to gear up for the fourth one. So
There you go.
and it sounds like he wants to do as many of these as
I would.
Why
say,
wouldn't
yeah.
you?
I mean,
It sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Gotta get 8 of them.
yeah.
be
Well, they
fun.
have
Yeah.
the spin-offs coming out too.
Right,
They have like the
show.
Ana de Armas spin-off, Ballerina.
Yeah. Ballerina.
I think so. Yeah, and then are they still doing
The
the
show, yeah.
Continental?
Mel Gibson is in the.
Oh, he's
show,
in
yeah.
it. Oh, okay.
Wow.
We'll be watching that.
Yeah, but
Sea-Dog, do you care at all about John Wick?
John Wick
are you a
is
fan?
like the equivalent to like Transformers or like Fast and the Furious. They're
Get Mick's rant
they
button
do,
ready.
dare you.
They do one thing super well. And if you go there for gunplay and action scenes, they're the best. It's the best at it. There you go.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
you're into that, dude, go check it out. I love it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say
watch
something
everyone.
way more controversial than
No,
that.
it's just like it's a very. They're just
when
a
you started
very,
with Transformers, I was like, oh, we're going.
it's like what do you go to Transformers for? You want to see robots fight?
Transform.
You
Awesome.
can't even see that in Transformers.
Well,
Just
that's
a blob.
Yeah, that's true.
Iron filings just flying.
It's like,
all
yeah,
over
you
the
go
place.
Fast and Furious, you get a lot of filler, but you get to see cool cars, right? Godzilla movies, you get to see monsters fight. You know what I mean?
Something.
But with this, you get to see gunplay and awesome fight scenes, which, obviously he puts all of himself into it.
Yeah, he's stud.
It's sick. So very impressive what he can do.
Troop, what do you think?
Yeah, it was another John Wick movie, and that's not a bad
Right.
I feel like even the last one I didn't like it as much. Like towards the end, I was like, it didn't.
If
end
it's
on a
not
strong
broke, don't
note.
fix it, dude.
But I hit play on the trailer, and I was like, all right, freaking sweet.
What I
Okay,
expect-
I mean,
Expected
Ethan,
swords?
Ethan and Jason
Okay.
love those movies. They watched them when they were 5 years old.
that's right.
Oh, okay. Well, there was that moment where he was like blocking like bullets with swords.
That was sick, dude.
I was like,
Come
all right,
on.
okay.
Yeah, I was down.
We're there
down
now.
with it.
I mean, he's already killed people with books. You know, it's-
It was sick. But yeah, I mean, same. The cast is freaking crazy. Has a lot of crazy actors in there. Like, looks like Bill Skarsgård. Is that?
one of the
Excuse me?
Skarsgård.
One of the Skarsgård?
Bill
Yeah.
Skarsgård, yeah. Pennywise.
Yeah, Pennywise looks like he's gonna be
The bad guy.
The bad guy in it.
Come here, Georgie. Johnny Wiki.
No, I've never seen that. It.
No.
Now we never will. Who else is in it?
Clancy Brown. My favorite actor,
Tom Clancy's
Hiroyuki
brother.
Sanada. That's the guy you couldn't think of.
Oh yeah,
Hero.
what-
You know?
oh, the guy that in Army of the Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the other guys that were,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know, the other guys.
Lawrence
The other guys.
Fishburne, like the people in the other movies that were in it. Lawrence Fishburne.
Nice, dude.
Who was the guy in charge of the Continental? I always forget his name.
I forget his name.
Ian something.
He's a cool dude.
Ian McDermott.
Nope, that's not it.
Ian Malcolm.
But yeah, it's another John
I-
Wick movie,
I
and I'm
think-
gonna watch it.
I think
It's
movies
exciting.
like this, where they're like do one thing super, super well, they often get into this trap where they try to one up themselves every movie, and then it starts getting like super ridiculous.
Like Fast and Furious.
Going into
Exactly.
space.
We're going into space.
And that's something that I respect so much about the John Wick movies. Just to kind of
No, yeah,
know,
I agree. And
bring
I
back
think
a little
they,
bit of
I think they,
favor.
they
I didn't know I'd piss them off so much.
No, I'm not pissed.
Yeah.
I was about to be.
Hit the rim
And then
button.
you
I know,
really-
rim
yeah,
button.
you-
Hit the
yeah,
rim button.
I was
Your finger
close.
was almost on
I
it.
was close. No, I think that they have a good balance of they still feel like they do in the beginning, but they're just like I said, they're just opening different things for them to expand on, but it doesn't ruin the universe that they've set up
Yep.
Nice.
Love
Yeah.
it.
until they go to space. Then that's too far. Space
A
food.
moon base. That would be a sweet moon base. He has to go up there. There's a Continental on the moon. All right. Is there anything else from Comic-Con you guys that we missed?
I'm sure we did.
Probably.
What do you got, Mick?
Oh, I didn't get to talk about the Dungeons and Dragons trailer. But
Yeah, jerk.
I do think that
I thought you didn't, and then I was like, oh.
it does look really cool. Like Jonah, I really know nothing about D&D other than what I've seen on Stranger Things and stuff. But yeah, surprisingly, it looks really fun. It looks like they're not taking it that seriously, but it looks like they're still going to like respect the the lore and have fun with it at the same time, which I think is probably the right way to do it. I'm hoping for like an end credit scene that you'll see the kids from Stranger Things. Like it's one of their
That would be
campaigns.
smart.
Like that would be pretty cool. Like something like that would be a lot of
Pretty
fun.
legit.
Because you don't have to like
Little cameo.
do anything more. Like
I
little
mean,
cameo.
what they have to do is that it has to be Joe Manganiello as the playing the game.
gosh,
True.
That'll be
Deathstroke himself. And then
Like
he
zoom
announces the
out.
Snyder
And
Cut.
it's just him.
and then you rolled a 20.
Yeah, exactly.
Natural 20. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but really looking forward to that.
Nice.
It looks cool.
Is it going to be better than Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah, I think so.
Easy sauce.
Could be close. Could be close.
I think it will be.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it. That's it this week.
All right.
Subscribe and like. Follow us on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Everywhere you get podcasts. Thanks so much for watching, for listening. Leave us something in the comments. If we miss something, if you disagree with us, if you agree with us, we like to keep the conversation going. So any feedback is always appreciated. And so thank you guys so much, and we'll see y'all next week.